Who Pissed Off Vessel? The new track from Sleep Token, Caramel, is out everywhere now after a very extensive teasing campaign involving a North Carolina weatherman, which was a lot of fun. And finally, that new song is officially here. And like many of you out there, I've had the opportunity to listen to it numerous times. I was driving back from Madison Square Garden in New York. I listened to this song like 10 times already. And I have some feelings about this song. It's a really interesting track because it's the most vulnerable song that we've gotten yet from Sleep Token, this new album, Even In Arcadia, the follow-up to arguably one of the best rock records of the last decade, Take Me Back to Eden in 2023. The expectations for this new music are extraordinarily high, dare I say. And it's clear that a lot of that pressure is also affecting Vessel because he's venting, for lack of a better word, in this song. It's obvious there's a lot of stuff that's been bothering him behind the scenes, or even some conduct of some of his own fans. And he's really just being very sincere about how he's been feeling in this song. So I want to take a look at some of the lyrics and kind of break down what this could mean as we talk about other bands as well that have voiced concern about maybe fans overstepping their boundaries with them. We've seen members of bands outright leaving social media because of stuff like this. But the lyrics to this song were honestly surprising. Also, the stylistic choices from Sleep Token were really interesting too, because you had some like reggae influences in the song, and then just a couple minutes later, it's some of the heaviest sounds that we've heard from Sleep Token's music to date, which is saying a lot because there are some really heavy moments in their music already, especially on Take Me Back to Eden. So let's dive into these lyrics and figure out what's going on here and what the meaning of this song may actually be. So one of the first things that kind of entered into my mind after a couple of listens of this song is this is like Sleep Token's version of Britney Spears' Lucky. I'm sorry, I know I'm going to get roasted for bringing that song up, but it's like kind of talking about the perils of fame. It's their heavy metal, hard rock, and pop version of that song where, you know, you're a celebrity on a very, very big path, a lot of success and a wave, and they're kind of talking about the drawbacks. I think from Sleep Token's entire aura and the fact that they choose to be anonymous and they seem to be really happy doing that, I think it's clear that they don't want anything to do with fame. Instead, they just want their music to speak for itself, and you're hearing a lot of the frustration that's coming out. So the first line is, count me out like sovereigns, payback for the good times, right foot in the roses, left foot on a landmine. So he points out that he's been feeling more and more pressure. He says, I swear it's getting harder even just to exhale. Backed up in the corners, bitter in the lens. I'm sick of trying to hide it every time they take mine. The second verse is where his frustrations really stand out. He says, and they ask me, is it going good in the garden? I say I'm lost, but I beg no pardon. Up on the dice, but low on the cards. I try not to talk about how it's harder now. Can I get a mirror side stage looking sideways at my own visage? Getting worse. Every time they try to shout out my real name just to get a rise from me, it sounds like that's what people are doing from the crowds at shows with them trying to be anonymous, acting like I'm never stressed out by the hearsay. I guess that's what I get for trying to hide in the limelight. And he says, everybody wants eyes on him. I just want to hear you sing that top line. Like I was saying earlier, he doesn't really give a shit about people paying attention to him or the fame. Instead, he just wants to focus on his craft. That's what I think that he's saying here in this song. And this, again, is the most vulnerable track that we have gotten yet from Sleep Token. Vessel seems like he is really frustrated with a lot of the downsides to fame and success. And this is not necessarily dissimilar from a lot of other really, really successful artists who feel frustrated. They didn't get into it for the fame. They want to be the best they can be at their craft. And I think that is what Sleep Token is at this point. They are really forging their own unique path with their own unique sound. And they have built up this massive audience to the extent with a couple of years after the Summoning, their breakout single blew up, they're now headlining Download Fest. I just can't say it enough. The fastest rise of any band I have seen since I have started Rockfeed. And so I am just astonished at the success this band is having. You're looking at the ticket sales here in the US on their North American tour. But with all of that success, he says, too young to get bitter over it all, too old to retaliate like before, too blessed to be caught ungrateful, I know, so I'll keep dancing along to the rhythm. The stage is a prison. A beautiful nightmare. And he says again, too blessed to be caught ungrateful. So acknowledging all of the amazing things that are happening in his career while also dealing. I just really love the way they went about this. I didn't expect this. This is just such a vulnerable song, him revealing how he feels despite that success. He says it's a war of attrition. I'll take what I'm given. And you know, when you're someone like Vessel and you're the members of Sleep Token, you know, it's a couple years after Take Me Back to Eden came out and they're already releasing a new album. I bet with the success that they're having that they're getting pulled in all sorts of directions behind the scenes under untold amount of pressure, because how many rock bands these days are even getting signed to major labels? There's all this controversy even around the way that they're rolling singles out, which I think is fun. I thought it was cool to involve the meteorologist. But yeah, it's just really interesting to hear how open he is in this song. But I want to hear what you think. Am I off base here, or does it seem like Vessel is really having enough with a lot of the bullshit that artists have to go through in their careers, instead of just wanting to focus on making their music and performing for their fans? So let me know what you think down in the comments. That's your latest update here from Rockfeed. Be sure to subscribe and notifications on for the latest news and updates.